If you're visiting Mendoza, you don't need a complicated schedule to make sure you have a good time. I think you need to focus on three main things, and if you do that, you're gonna have a good trip. In this video, I'm gonna tell you what those three things are and give you some recommendations based on my time in Mendoza. The first one, and the one that you probably know Mendoza for because it's what makes it famous, is the wine. The wine there is phenomenal. There's a ton of wineries and the wine is really high quality, so it often gets shipped globally where people in other countries like the United States, for example, can enjoy it. So there's a good chance that you have probably tried an Argentinian wine before, and that wine was most likely from Mendoza. While you're there in the city, it's kind of a can't miss activity. I mean, if you go to Mendoza and you didn't go to a winery, you didn't go to Mendoza. It doesn't really matter how you go visit a winery because you have a couple of options for what type of winery visit you could do. And I'm going to name a few, but keep in mind that it just kind of depends on what kind of traveler you are for what will work best for you. So first one's just going to be renting a bike and biking to the wineries. I talked to a few people who did this. They had a great time. You get to go to whichever wineries you want. You get to go at your own pace. And if you're a bit more of a DIY person, or you're into the physical activity, or you want to just take in the scenery as you go at a slower pace, I think that's a great option for you. One tip though is to bring sunscreen because the people who I saw do the bike tours came back looking like a cherry tomato. Option number two, which is what I did, is to do a small group tour. It was about 10 people and we were brought around on a shuttle van to different wineries. I think we did 3 wineries and 1 olive oil factory. And the olive oil factory is actually really cool. I didn't expect to enjoy that, but it was really nice. You get to see how the olive oil is made and they give you a tasting of the different olive oils that they offer, which was very interesting to try, and you can really tell the difference in olive oil quality. So I thought that was a good option. We did 3 wineries, which was enough for me. You know, you got to spend maybe 30 minutes to an hour at each place, so it's kind of a faster pace. If you're wanting something slower, obviously do fewer wineries or do a single winery. But for me, I thought that was a good option. You get to see a good variety of places, get to try a good variety of wines, and it was a really fun time and a good way to spend your day. Last one's gonna be a bit more of the fancy way to do it. So if you're looking for a specific name brand winery, ones like Norton, for example, you should probably book in advance because they do tend to sell out. So if you know you're already going to go to Mendoza and you know the dates that you're going to Mendoza, look at booking the winery or the bodega visit now. I recommend that just to make sure that you have a spot because there's plenty of people who I saw going there who were intending to go to those fancy name brand places. They couldn't get a booking reserved. So keep that in mind. And there's also, of course, like the VIP wine experiences where they'll give you a private chauffeur and show you around. I'm not in that tax bracket, so I can't speak to how good that is, but just know that that option is there for you if you are that kind of person. Second thing on the Mendoza trifecta is going to be the mountains. You'll obviously notice this as soon as you arrive into Mendoza because it is a beautiful backdrop surrounding the city. They are stunning to look at from the city, but they're even better to look at from the mountains themselves. For me, I got to experience the mountains by taking a horseback ride up. It was about, I don't know, an hour or 2 drive, and then we did an hour or so on a horseback to get to the top of the mountains, and it was beautiful. You know, the horses I'm not super crazy about because I've done horse rides before. So the novelty of the horse ride is not what was cool. It was just being in the nature, in the rugged mountains with the cactus and all that, taking it all in, looking at the beautiful landscape, I think was a cannot miss activity. There's plenty of other options for you to get into the mountains, ways in which you could do so. If you're less physically able or you simply don't want to do something super active, there's plenty of car ride options. So you can either get on a big bus or a private car or a shared shuttle van, and there's loops that they'll take you on. They'll drive around and you can just simply look at the mountains and enjoy the views from there. I got a small sample of this, or maybe even I got a big sample of this when I took my bus ride from Mendoza to Santiago, and I can attest that the views from the car are amazing. So if you just want to see the mountains but you don't want to be super physical or you can't be super physical, that's a great option for you. If you're seeking something a bit more adrenaline junkie style, then they have the paragliders where you strap to a person with a parachute and then you go flying around the Andes Mountains. I didn't do that, but I saw other people who did, and it looks like a really good time. And they even take pictures for you, so you have some photos of that to show everyone that you flew over the Andes Mountains. Like I said, there's a ton of options for mountains. It doesn't really matter which one you do, it just matters that you get out there and you experience it for yourself because it is truly one of the highlights of being in Mendoza. Okay, the third and final thing on the Mendoza trifecta is just the Mendoza lifestyle itself. I came from Buenos Aires, so I was used to a bit more of the hustle city vibe, and when I got to Mendoza, it was a breath of fresh air. I mean, literally a breath of fresh air because you're out in the middle of the mountain ranges, in the middle of the open countryside. So it was nice to be in that environment, but also, I mean, just the lifestyle of the people is a bit more slowed. It's a bit more of a relaxed vibe. The siesta culture there is big. So during the afternoons, people shut down their shops and take a nap, basically. So everything kind of slows down. And for me, that was a perfect time for me to go explore the parks around the city. So there's a beautiful park right off of the main avenue. It's called Parque General San Martin, or the General San Martin Park in English. There's a main avenue that goes through Mendoza called Avenue Villanueva. And on that avenue, there's a ton of restaurants, bars, coffee shops, all kinds of stuff. And you can walk down that avenue to access the gigantic park. That park is stunning. It's really massive. I mean, you can spend hours in that park alone. They have really nice landscaping, there's food trucks, there's fountains, there's parakeets flying around. So if you're someone who really enjoys walking through the park, that's a great place for you. And if that park's not enough to satisfy your park hunger, then there's the Independence Plaza. And around that plaza, there's 4 other satellite plazas. So you can walk from the park to the main plaza, and then you can go from there to all the other 4 little plazas and just spend your whole day walking around taking in the sights on foot, which is what I did, and I think it was awesome. It's a great way to get your steps in. It's a great way to kind of slowly explore the city, get a sense for what life is like there, and of course, fill your camera roll with a bunch of pictures. For the food there, you cannot pass up having a parrilla. That is a traditional grilled dinner with a bunch of different meats that they offer in Mendoza. I had it twice in my 3 days, and I probably should have had it double the amount of times. It's amazing. Also, if you don't want just red meats, if you don't want just grilled meats, they have plenty of other options there for you to try as well. There's some international options. So the food scene there is quite good, and there's plenty to satisfy your hunger. But that's it. Those are the 3 main things that you need to do. There's not a rigid schedule for you to do them. There's not a rigid set of things that you must do. Like if you're gonna go to the mountains, you must do this. No, it's just, in general, you should go to a winery or experience the wine in Mendoza. You should experience the mountains in some way in Mendoza. And then you should just take in the lifestyle of Mendoza itself. The food, the culture, the laid back, the chill, the beautiful parks. Enjoy all that Mendoza has to offer in that regard as well. For me, I spent 3 days there, and it was perfect because I got to do each of the trifecta items on each one of those days. 3 days I recommend. You could maybe do more if you wanted to do each thing a little slower, or if you want to throw in some extra day trips. You have options to go to the hot springs and Uspallata, and there's also some other nature activities if you're going to do more outdoorsy stuff on the outskirts of Mendoza as well. But if you focus on those 3 main things, I think it's going to be hard for you to not enjoy your time in Mendoza. And like I mentioned before, if you're looking to visit another city near Mendoza, you could go to Santiago. My next video, I'm actually going to be talking about my time in Santiago because I took a bus from Mendoza to Santiago. So in the next video, I'm going to tell you about what I did in my 10 days there, what I recommend, what I would do differently. Stay tuned for that one. See you in the next video.